What's going on, guys? MariK here, back with another Dragon Ball Super video. Lately, you guys have been asking us for more Dragon Ball content, and a lot of you have been asking for our opinions on some of the cards in the game, whether it be cards from the new set, or, what do I think are the best insert here. And so, one of the things we were looking at that you guys have requested is what do I think are some of the best leaders in the Dragon Ball Super card game. So today we're going to be taking a look at the top 5 generic blue leaders. Number 5! Heightened Evolution Super Saiyan 3 Son Goku returns. Now, I know some people think that this card isn't as good as its original incarnation. However, I feel like this is still a pretty solid leader, especially if you're wanting to run a mono blue deck specifically. It has, some of the same restrictions that the previous leader had. However, because it costs a card from your hand every time you use the ability, then you're going to run out of card advantage a little bit faster. However, it's not really that much different compared to the original leader. Now, on the Awakened side, you get basically the same package you had previously. The only difference is you can only switch mono blue energy to active mode. So if you're running a mono blue deck, I feel like this is a really solid leader to run. There are better options in my personal opinion, but this is definitely one to consider, especially if you are going to be running a lot of like counterplays or counterattacks, cards that you're going to use on your opponent's turn. Having those 3 active energy on your opponent's turn are going to be a really big advantage for you. Number 4! Super Saiyan 2 Trunks Envoy of Justice. Now this is a really cool one that they introduced in set 10, and I gotta say I love it. Even without running like the Gokus and the Vegetas and stuff that came in set 10, that when they're revealed in your hand, they go into your energy. It's still playable without those, although you can still run a generic blue deck even with those, and they're either going to get charged or you would just use them for this ability anyways. But even without that, being able to take crit damage and just still reveal it to add it to your hand, that's still a pretty substantial ability to have, considering how big of a disadvantage it is to not get the cards from your life to your hand. The Awakened side more or less is the same thing, except you've got that activate main that allows you to place a battle card at the bottom of your opponent's deck. So it's kind of board control. It doesn't get around barrier, however, there's no energy restriction or anything like that. And putting it at the bottom of the deck probably makes it a lot harder for your opponent to, get it back. So I feel like that's a pretty solid ability. It does cost 2 energy to activate, but at the end of the turn you get to switch an energy back to active mode, so it's not terrible. It just causes you to have to kind of play around your energy just a little bit more strategically, but overall I feel like this is a really solid card. Number 3! Super Saiyan God Son Goku Soul Striker Reborn. This was one of my favorites for the longest. The original Soul Striker was such a good card, and here they just made it better in my opinion. So now when you attack with him, you can switch an energy to active mode or draw a card. And granted, they made this similar to the Heightened Evolution return, where it's only mono blue energy. So I would kind of say at number 3 would be either Soul Striker or Soul Striker Reborn, just depending on what you're wanting to run. If you're wanting to run multicolor, blue / whatever, run the original Soul Striker, because then you can still switch your blue yellow or blue whatevers back to active mode. If you're running mono blue, I definitely suggest running this leader, because not only do you get to switch energy to active mode, you can also choose to draw a card instead. There's an alternate awakening ability. Really the only 3 cost specific blue unison we have right now is the Goku Black, which doesn't really seem to fit, but it's definitely not a terrible unison. But on the Awakened side, you get to switch the energy to active mode like you normally would. They did away with that gain 5,000 power if you had, I think it was 5 energy. And instead, at the end of the turn, you get to choose your blue unison and switch to active mode. So It's going to make it so that it's not an attack target, and if you have one that has a blocker, then you can use blocker again. So all around, pretty solid. I like this one a little bit more than the original, but both of them have their unique niche for a blue deck. So depending on whether you're running mono blue or multicolor, either way, these leaders are a solid choice. Number 2. Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta Ultimate Evolution. This one, I kind of struggled with where to put a lot of these cards because I kind of wanted to put Soul Striker at the top, but I chose not to. Honestly, I feel like this leader is better than Soul Striker. Its ability is not guaranteed because when you deal damage, you get to take the top card of your deck. If it's mono blue, you get to put it in your energy and rest mode. Otherwise, you just put it back. So this is, again, something heavily geared towards mono blue decks. But every time you deal damage with this leader, you get to ramp yourself. That's pretty good, and it kind of applies different sets of pressure onto your opponent, because either you're going to deal that damage, they're going to let that damage go through, and they're going to get the card from their life to their hand, but you're also going to ramp yourself up on energy, or you're going to put pressure on them by trying to deal that damage, forcing them to combo out of it or waste a negate that they otherwise wouldn't have on a regular leader, and then you're going to one-up them on card advantage. So either you're going to up them on card advantage or you're going to one-up them on energy. Pretty solid either way. Either option it puts you ahead. And then on the Awakened side, if they activate a counter skill, then you can switch them to active mode. That's obviously only useful on your turn, but still, it lets them attack twice, so it gives you a second chance to be able to deal damage, to be able to get that card into your energy. Overall, pretty solid. I like the leader. I personally don't care that it's Vegeta, but I know a lot of people have been wanting Vegeta, and a lot of people wanting Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta. This is a solid card, and really, if you're looking to build a mono blue deck, this is definitely a leader to consider. Number 1. Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta Godhead Transcended. This is my personal favorite blue leader. It was Soul Striker up until we got this Vegeta. And, when we got our first blue Vegeta leader, I was pretty disappointed in it. Just because I also didn't really care for the archetype for set 7. I liked what they were trying to do with it. It just didn't work out well. But then they gave us this. It's like they finally gave us a good blue Vegeta leader. And this one's solid just for any type of blue deck. You get to awaken whenever one of your cards is KO'd. That's pretty insane. Or if your stuff would be put in the drop area by a skill. So you can awaken really early with this card. And for 2 energy, being able to give a Unison, 10,000 power, and triple strike, that's insane. That is insane. And the fact that this is a starter deck leader means it's super easily accessible, and it's guaranteed to come foil and look pretty, and it's all around. It's a fantastic card. The Awakened side is even better. You get to switch an energy to active mode and draw a card when your shit's KO'd. Now, it's a shame we don't have a free blocker for blue for this deck, but there are plenty of cheap blue battle cards, and there are plenty of blue battle cards that your opponent is going to want to get rid of, especially if you could even run Deadly Defender Vegeta, or you could run the even better version, the Vegito, just to kind of force your opponent into potentially triggering those abilities. So, with the different variations in good blue Unison cards, honestly, I would say my choice would be, off the top of my head, the Gotenks. Because, if I remember correctly, he gets dual attack. So, dual attack plus 10,000 plus triple strike, like, busted as fuck. For 2 energy, hell yeah, I'll do that. Granted, you can only play that Gotenks. I think he's a specified 4 cost, so you would have to wait a turn to be able to do so, but, jeez, that would be ridiculous. You could also use it with the Super Saiyan 3 Gogeta Unison that we got out of the championship pack, because it also has dual attack, so 30,000 triple strike dual attack there would be phenomenal. You could use it on the Janemba if you really wanted to. Granted, that Unison doesn't particularly do anything for, you know, any just regular blue deck, but if you actually happen to get your opponent down, or if they played a deck that just drew, or milled a shit ton, like if they were running like a black deck, like Master Saiyan, whatever, then, you know, you could use his activate main, give him the 15,000 of triple strike, which is not going to give him double triple strike, but, you know, plus 15,000 puts him at 30, plus the 10,000 from the leader puts him at 40,000 triple strike is still an insane number. But overall, I personally would pick the Gotenks, just because I think the Gotenks has the better abilities, and 30,000 dual attack triple strike is definitely a threatening force. But that's going to go ahead and wrap up this video here. A bit short for you guys, but honestly, I feel like sometimes some of our videos get a little bit too long, just because we get so into talking about the different cards and the different combos that we can come up with them. But let me know what you guys think of our list in the comments down below. I would love to hear your thoughts and your opinions. If we missed a blue leader that you think is better than the 5 we listed. Now remember, this is just blue generic leaders. Obviously, there are some leaders that are going to be really good, but they are geared towards a specific deck, and their abilities require you to run cards in a deck you wouldn't run in just any specific blue deck. So let me know what you guys think. We're going to go ahead and get the frig out of here, and we'll see you guys in the next video.